Taizai greatness. Man, I really enjoyed this episode. Like, the comedy was amazing, the action was amazing, getting to see some of the most beast characters introduced for the first time officially. I was hyped. But at the same time, I'm a little bit worried right now because while A1 and Okamura have been rearranging things, and yes, I actually really like that, because this is an anime adaptation. It's not like reading a manga chapter. You have to, you know, piece things into a way that's kind of different in order to get a certain dramatic effect and have the pacing work better. So I actually really like it, aside from certain choices which were strange to me, but it seems to me that they're honestly, like, really leaving some key scenes out, like, aside from the whole thing with the Black Hound Oslo, King's pet, that they did fail to introduce in the last couple episodes. I was hoping they would do that here. With the whole resolution to everything that happened in the Capital of the Dead, and we still haven't got that, and even more so, we've skipped another crucial scene, which I'll get to later on. I don't want to spoil anything because the character was, you know, the characters are still being introduced, and certain things are progressing in the same way, but they've skipped a crucial scene, and I'll just talk about that a bit later. So I'll warn you when that's happening, so you aren't spoiled if you don't want to know what's going on. So let's just get into the episode. A lot of information in this episode, and we get the true identity of King. You know, we already kind of knew because he was Elaine's sister, but it's finally, like, officially introduced. We knew he was a fairy, but he's the fairy king, Harlequin, and dude is a beast. Dude is a fucking menace. He's going in. You see him taking on Guida like it's absolutely nothing, and Elaine's monologue in the background talking about how his power is so much stronger when he's fighting for his friends and all of this, and how he's the fairy king Harlequin. We get the fact that his weapon, Chesterful, which is also that pillow he's always lying on, it kind of transforms into many different forms, and it draws out his power of disaster, which, you know, you see him manipulating Chesterful in many different ways, and we're not just feasting on Guida, Guida just gets destroyed by King, basically, and then sent back, clowned around by Meliodas. Like, the comedy in this episode, like, just done so well. You know, Meliodas drawing all over her face, and you see her master, Helbram, appear before her, and just, like, kind of makes fun of her as she's tied to the tree. And again, going on the comedy aspect real quick, just a quick digression, you know, Meliodas getting the fondles in with you know, Elizabeth time and time again. And it was just a nice dynamic, nice little tension, and nice comedy as well that we haven't gotten in a couple of episodes this week, because things have been very dramatic, very serious. The comedy wasn't as heavy of an aspect, but the comedy is still a great part of the interactions between the Sins and the other characters, so I was enjoying it. Finding out about King's, you know, real form, like, not really real form, but in a way, like, when he gets really stressed, he goes into this fat form, you know, because he's all embarrassed about the fact that he didn't realize Elizabeth was a princess. And that's where you get that King from the wanted posters. You just see him looking like a fucking freak. And it's so funny how, like, Meliodas is like, you know, his clothes changed. His clothes just changed. It's just King. His clothes changed. And Bot's like, are you fucking serious? He got so much bigger. And the Meliodas like, no. His clothes just changed. His clothes just changed. I'm just dying laughing. And yeah, just finding out about King, and as well, like, the comedy just even persists with Diane pretending to be injured so that Meliodas will pay her attention, getting all jealous once again, you know, over him following Elizabeth and everything like that. And Bond even calls her out. He's like, yo, Diane, you're just doing this because, you know, you just pretended to be injured so the captain would pay special attention to you, because King's asking her what's the deal with your injuries and everything. She's like, oh, no, I'm fine. And the thing about it is, too, you see a lot, just like we revealed to a couple episodes back, how King feels about Diane. He seems to have feelings for Diane. You see a lot of it in this episode, like, him just being overly concerned about her, and then when he's asking them about the sacred treasures, which is another big reveal we get this episode. This is why, you know, King was seen as so much more of a beast going against Guido while the other three were struggling, because as King explains, their magical powers are honed by their individual sacred treasures, and the three of them, respectively, Meliodas sold his off so he could pay off his debts for the Boar's Hat bar, and you have King, who still has his in Chesterful. That's why he's so beast going against Guido. And she's just thinking Chesterful, she doesn't know too much about it. Chesterful made from the sacred tree of the Fairy King's Forest and all of that. But, you know, each of the sins had a sacred treasure. Bon, you know, got his taken away when he was imprisoned. Diane loses hers. And King's just, like, basically, like, bitching out Meliodas and Bon, being like, are you serious? You lost your sacred treasures? Like, you're so much more powerful with these things. How are you going to get rid of them? And that's why, you know, King's power level was higher than theirs in this, like I keep saying. But at the same time, he just goes to Diane and he's like, oh, it's okay, there was nothing you could do about it, you lost it, you can't help that. I'm just like, oh my god, just the favoritism of that love, just blinding people at all fucking corners, all corners. But really good interaction there, and then getting introduced, like, these are some of the scenes that were kind of moved around. You see the introduction of Dreyfus, Hendriksen, you know, the two top holy knights, and then you have, like, Hosser is introduced. And you see him piling up with Gil Thunder, taking out a bunch of barbarians in the wilderness like it's nothing, just going in. That scene was beast. And then you hear, you know, the Holy Knight's mission about the Holy War and everything like that. And Haas kind of clattering around like, that wasn't the Holy War that we just experienced, right? Like, what do you think the Holy War is going to be? And, like, Gil Thunder and Dreyfus are kind of speculating that it has to revolve around the sins at this point. And now that King's betrayed them and all four of them are together, they're quite dangerous. They're quite dangerous. And you see that there's a hint to Meliodas, like the kingdom of whatever, Balfour I believe is called, or something like that, I can't remember. But Dreyfus is relaying this story to them about how Meliodas just took it out by himself. You see that flash to this huge crater, and Meliodas just being over it and, like, hinting to why he's known as the Sin of Wrath. I'm just like, yo, these are just so well played, so well done. I'm loving the voice actors for these characters. You see Hendriksen getting a little flash to him early. I think they should have just kept that entire scene, like even the part that they showed at first, where you see Hendriksen, he has the demon corpse in his lair, and basically, you know, Dreyfus and Gil Thunder were saying that Hendriksen is up to something, and you see that, and you see that Guido was part of this, you know, as well with Helbram. You see Master Helbram there. Guido was a part of this whole Hendriksen type of thing with the demon blood, and he slashes. They should just move that whole scene to after the credits. But nonetheless, I love the voice actors for all these characters. Just looking at, you see the two fodder Holy Knights. Well, not really two fodder. Jericho's not so much, because Jericho, you know, doesn't explode and is actually initiated into their circle, as you see in the end. Whereas that other fodder Holy Knight, I just don't remember his name, just straight up can't handle the demon blood power and just dies. And you see just various things hinted to in that. It's the same red demon that we see in the Fairy King's Forest in the flashback with Bon and Elaine. So a lot of things tying together, a lot of hints at stuff. I just love the way the episode progressed. Now you've got them entering the tournament and everything like that. Lots of things. But now here's where I need to get into the problem. So if you don't want to be spoiled onto anything, please just leave now. I need to talk about how certain things were rearranged, because we get introduced to a lot of characters for the tournament at the very end. Can just speculate on that, and yeah, get into it next week's episode when it's more, you know, prudent to talk about those things. But for all you, you know, manga readers, please, anime people, I gave you time to leave. The fact that they got rid of the scene, you know, with Veronica's initial introduction and, you know, Elizabeth being kidnapped for like a quick minute, and then, you know, Meliodas saving her, and the whole thing of Elizabeth starting to question kind of Meliodas. You see his anger, his rage, you know, the demon shadow popping up behind him on the rock. I believe that happened in that event as well. I'm just like, yo, like, how are you gonna get rid of this? They keep getting rid of all the Meliodas foreshadowing, except for that one time when the Weird Fangs attacked and stole his fucking sword. They're getting rid of all the Meliodas foreshadowing. I don't like it. I really don't like it. And that scene with Veronica is pretty key. I mean, now, just skipping straight to the tournament just is annoying to me. I knew they were gonna do it as soon as Elizabeth's like, oh, I'll stay here with Diane. I'm like, what about this scene? Like, what's going on? And yeah, it makes sense, because you don't want to, it's more dramatic having Veronica lurking in the shadows, sending, you know, the dude in there and everything like that. But come on, like, it's a key scene. It's a key scene. You're going to send Grimoire in there by himself at the tournament, which is fine. But I liked seeing them introduced before. I don't know why things are being left out like that. Like, I don't mind the rearranging, but when you're leaving things out, like very key things at that, that have a lot of foreshadowing and power behind them, I'm just like wondering if this is going to be like a legit great adaptation throughout. Like, we could put, like, I don't want any sort of anime original stuff popping up down the line without Oslo being around. Like, is he just gonna just introduce Oslo later when he's more relevant? Are we gonna get any more exposition into the Veronica thing in another way? Are they going to reverse, you know, the situation somehow? I don't see how that's possible, because now, you know, Guido and Jericho are going to attack. So I don't know how it's going to go down exactly. I'm just kind of concerned that they've left certain things out as we've progressed, and it makes me wonder what the future of the Taizai anime is down the line, because I really want it to be something where it's just straight up beautiful adaptation, so we get, you know, maybe a season 2, since it's capped at 24 episodes, and it just, you know, I want it to be a long runner, man. I would love Taizai to be, you know, the next long running shonen anime, and I'm not so sure we'll get even a 100% adaptation at this point, when they're leaving things out like this. So let me know your thoughts, any way this can be rectified or remedied and everything like that. Great episode nonetheless, really enjoyed it, loving the voice actors and the character portrayals and the color palettes. Everything's just looking so beautiful right now. So let me know your thoughts. I'm out. Peace.